Hi guys! Welcome to the Craft of Living. Welcome back. Thank you for checking out my vlog for last week in market. It was my first market that I had ever done, and thanks to all of your guys' help, everybody that does market on YouTube. I'll do a shout out to Cameron's Cute Creations as my #1 mentor in this endeavor in my life. But there are so many others that I have taken inspiration from. And I just want to thank all of you artists and crafters out there for giving me inspiration to do this myself and knowing, hey, if other people can do it, I can do it too. So thank you so much for that inspiration. And in turn, I would like to inspire someone else. So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of how last week's market went, how I felt about it, what were my top sellers, what sold out, how I felt about it, how was the breakdown and setup system, and my plans and goals for this week. Am I going to do market again, and all of that stuff. So let's get into it. If you're interested, thank you for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, welcome. We talk about anything to do with the craft of living here. So literally crafting, or crafting as in creating your life, whatever that might look like. So welcome. This is where we explore all of those facets. You may have seen my other videos of divination, and that's all about crafting. So let's talk about it. So last week's market was intimidating, to say the least, to do my very first market. I did it at a community college, and that particular event space was really a good beginner place because they assign you a slot. Well, you can pick out a slot, and it's a long slot, long enough to come up and drive your car in, set up your tent, and leave your car there. So you don't have to traipse your stuff past parking lots and lawns and just, I hear that all the time of people, I have to take all my stuff across everywhere. And this one was so easy in that regard, and that it was just right there. So I really love that part. It's a morning market. It goes from 7 to 1, and it's called a swap meet. So typically, with crochet stuff, I personally wouldn't think about or really would want to do a flea market or a swap meet, typically just because most people there are looking for deals. They're looking to, negotiate with you, and I don't want to do that type of business. I'm set my prices, and, I can offer certain discounts, but not negotiating terms. So I was a little bit hesitant on going there, being that most of the draw of the MCC market is for farmers market. And, people come really early for that to get the best fruits and the vegetables for the greatest deals, and they're not really looking to shop and buy stuff. So they're not really in that kind of zone. So it was my first market, and it was actually very slow that day. So there weren't many vendors and there weren't many people, but what I love most about this market is there's a blend of locals and tourists alike, and that's what I really want, because those are both of my general demographics in that regard. So I was really happy to see that. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed watching people's reactions. I'd say that's where I took most of my joy, was the people that you could tell had nothing to do with kawaii, cutesy things. Like an older couple would walk past my booth, and they were just on their way to just get fruits and vegetables early in the morning. And my tent caught their eye, and they're like, oh, cinnamonies. And you could tell that they weren't looking for that kind of stuff. But after taking a little glance, they kept walking, and they couldn't help but turn their head the whole entire way to look at what I had to sell. And at the very end of them turning away, they smiled and giggled. And that is what I'm doing this for. I'm doing it to spark joy in people and bring out that childlike, playful nature that we all have within us that really holds the kingdom to heaven. Right there is that key, is that childlike curiosity and wonder and that spark of joy. So that's what I focused on, and I'll just talk about the reactions of the people so far. They really seem to like the name of the shop. They really like the feel of the shop. People would walk in my tent and look around at things and just was really hooked in. I would say they were really hooked in. Despite them not really purchasing anything over $20, I feel like they couldn't help but want to pick out something. They wanted just something from there. And I think, yeah, so most of my sales were under 20 bucks. So I created a little bin in the front of my shop, and it is like a $5 bin, and my goodness, that just went crazy. Everybody, I mean, I only had like 6 or 7 things in there, but everybody was rummaging through it, picking out their stuff. And you know, I created this bin because it was all my rejects. The ones that weren't good enough for me, but you know, there's nothing wrong with it really. It's just not up to my standards of what I'm trying to sell and brand. So it went in that bin in the front, and everybody really, really loved it. And I just love to see people of all ages and of all sizes and of all backgrounds come in and purchase things from my store. And I'd say it's pretty much in my element because it was like a fun job, career. It's the only career I get where I get to crochet while at work. So I really enjoyed that. Square gave me a little bit of problems. I had to turn my phone off and turn it back on to hook up the Square reader because it just got the free little thing that comes with the Square, and had to turn it off and on, and then that seemed to fix the glitchiness because it was doing a glitch thing I didn't understand. And then it scared me because I did like 2 or 3 credit card transactions, and I went to go look in the Square app and click reports, and it said I made 0 sales. So I was like, oh my God, am I capturing any of these cards? Am I just giving my stuff away and Square isn't capturing any of it? So during the market, I was kind of preoccupied trying to contact customer service via chat and be like, should I keep using this or should I just ask for cash only today? Are you guys working? But something deep down told me, trust it. Just go ahead and trust it because you saw the last 4 digits being captured. The receipt screen came up, didn't have their information, and I had to input all of that. But you know, it still seemed like it captured. So I decided to trust it. And lo and behold, a few hours later, it was updated and everything was fine, which I love. And if you haven't gotten the Square app for your business, I totally recommend it. Without being offensive, for me, it's like retail for dummies. So I needed that very much. It makes it so simple. And if you have the time to put all your inventory into there, at least the ones that are going to be permanently in your store, because my trials, I don't bother putting into Square because I'm not sure if I want to incorporate them into my brand. But the ones that I'm sure are my brand, like my little tree sprites here, I definitely put into Square, and I put in the different color variations. So this is a taupe cap tree sprite variation, which is different than my terracotta cap, which is different than my blush pink cap, and so on. And I put that into Square so that when people start purchasing things, I get an idea of what is the best seller. With ease. I don't have to take out a pen and a paper and be like, okay, what do people buy? Like, it was easy. But I have to say that while at the market, I kept a written log as well as doing Square. So yeah, I kept a written log. That way, in case there were any glitches, I knew a hard copy was exactly what I sold, what color it was, and how they paid. Did they pay in cash or did they pay in card? And that was my own little bookkeeping thing. Now, I only filled up 1 page, just not even filled it all the way up. I almost filled up 1 page with sales that day. And I'm actually very excited about those results because it was a very slow day. It was a very slow day. But I made a lot of sales and I got a lot of people in and I got a lot of people interested. So a lot of people were wondering, oh, you're here now. Now I know where you're at. And I noted that because I was like, oh, I was just trying this once. I know I'm going to do it again, but I hadn't actually committed. And so that just tells me it's good if you can stay in one spot for a little while at least. Even if it's not your ideal, like, you know, I really like doing this at the community. It may not be my ideal just because of the customers may not be looking to make big purchases. But, you know, I learned a couple of things. So I've worked in customer relations for over 20 years. So I understand how to do customer relations and I engage them. I am not a hard seller because I don't like to be lorded over when I'm meekly looking at somebody's shop. I just want to look and see what I see and then decide if I want to stay and buy anything. I don't really want anybody to talk to me and say, hey, come over here and look at this and I'm running a sale. And like when people start doing that, I shy away and I'm like, oh, thanks, bye. And then I run away. So, but I am learning a few things from my mother-in-law. She does market in her own way, in a different way, with more like food things and sushi type of things. But I hold responsible for getting my last sale of my baby axolotl. So my bigger baby axolotl, not the huge one that I showed on my YouTube channel, but the littler one, the velvet one. I sold that one for $60, and this couple was passing, and mother-in-law, grandma was like, hey, come check this out, come feel these things. And I just love it because she was inviting and engaging the customers, asking them, hey, you want to come check this out? I see that you're interested, come touch this stuff, you know. And of course they were very nice, and they're like, oh, I don't know, my hands might be dirty. She's like, well, don't touch it if your hands are dirty. And then they're like, well, okay, I'll touch it. So they were able to feel it and touch how it felt. And it's just different from acrylic yarn. You know, acrylic yarn, as you know, just has a different texture and feel. So this type of crochet is new to a lot of people. And I need to remember that just because I'm very much involved in this crochet community. And I see a lot of this Bernat blanket yarn being used on so many patterns. It seems to be a very popular thing right now. I forget that it's new to other people. They're used to seeing that other stuff, the stuff our grandma made, you know? And my whole motto is I want to veer as far away from that as I can. But that's just me. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just have negative associations with that. So I try to make everything super kawaii that doesn't even remind you of grandma's granny squares. And so, yeah, when they were looking at my faux fur scrunchies, they're like, they asked this question and they're like, did you make all of this? I'm like, yes. And they're like, even the scrunchies? I'm like, yes. But they just don't understand it because it's like, it's faux, it like, doesn't look like crochet stitches. But I kind of love that about the faux fur. It looks like a store-bought thing. But yeah, so the market went really well. I had a good turnout. And I was very proud of myself. The setup and breakdown was somewhat easy. I was very proud in that we didn't forget anything. There was nothing or a moment that we were like, oh, crud, we forgot blank. Can you go home and get it? No, none of that happened. And we had everything that we needed. Instead of bringing a charging block, I might give this as a tip for other vendors out there. I discovered it on accident. Instead of using a charging brick for your phone and your devices and things like that, we used a charging stereo. So it's a stereo that has capacity to charge other items. It has so many milliamps, I don't know, my husband knows that number and I don't remember, but it can charge like it only has one port to charge, but all I need is one USB port to charge really my phone. And so what I did was I put on some brand music, which is very similar to this that you hear in the background, just very cutesy, kawaii music, because I feel like music has a big part in people's moods and it does affect sales. So I tried to create an ambiance of cute, lighthearted fun. And so I had this playing within it wasn't very loud, it was just enough for my customers to hear. And it was the greatest. I got the greatest compliment from a sweet, sweet girl coming in saying that this was her happy place. So let's get into what were my best sellers. So first of all, I kind of mentioned was my $5 bin was the best seller. Everybody really wanted that one. Cool. So this week I decided to make up a list of all the things that I would make this week in preparation for this Saturday. And so I was like, okay, Monday is gonna be Chester the Chicken Day, where I just make a whole bunch of Chester chickens. Tuesday will be Frog Day, where I make all kinds of different frogs. And Wednesday will be Poppets Day, where I do poppet mushrooms. And Thursday, which is today, will be Shark Day. And mind you, the frog, the poppet, and the shark are all new patterns for me. I didn't know them, not familiar with them, and not knowing any better, I thought it would be fun. And it's turning out to be stressful because I didn't count in the learning curve that comes with every new pattern. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter how seasoned of a pro you are in crochet, there's always gonna be a learning curve with anything new you're learning, and I did not take that into consideration. I just was like, oh, I'll just whip it up and it'll be perfect the first try and then I'll move on. Like, okay, that works sometimes, but not all the time. And you're really setting yourself up to run your wheels. So anybody else out there that might be as crazy ambitious as me with the same amount of perfectionism, do yourself a favor and only do one new pattern a week if you can restrain yourself. It's just, you learn so many different things. Even though it's all written out, the other person who wrote it might have a different tension than you, might have a slightly different yarn, might be doing something a little different than you, or maybe you make it exactly like they made it and you don't like it and you don't want to switch something with it. So you're gonna change the pattern a little bit to make it how you like it. And I didn't account for any of that. So I just got frustrated. So yeah, so getting into my best sellers, just that's the tip. Like, don't overwhelm yourself with too many new patterns. But let's see, Chester Chicken Day, I'll tell you what I did. So Chester Chicken Day, I was able to make 4 little Chester chickens. And this pattern is amazing. I think I left the link in my last video for this one, for the creator of this. Gosh, I love her to pieces. How could you make something that's so easy and so fun? This little guy works up in about 45 minutes for me. I mean, look at his cute little goofy chicken feet. His chicken feet. I mean, I love making a stack of chicken feet and being like, okay, I'm gonna make 5 today and here's my stack of chicken feet. It's just so cute. Anyway, this is a no-sew pattern and these guys sold pretty crazily. Of course, I made one in white and I made one in woodland tweed. Gosh, the tweeds are like my favorite and they're so hard to get here on island. They're so hard. I finally had to order through Joann's. I think she didn't ship over here at one point and now they are Joann's. So I was able to get this yarn. You have no idea how hard it is for me to get yarn. So especially this kind. And we have one store, which is Ben Franklin, and you do not want to go there. I don't know what it's like for you, but our rule of thumb is don't go to Ben Franklin for any crafts. Don't go to Ace for any hardware things because they're so expensive. They're like convenient and they're right there, but so expensive. Oh my gosh. The Clover crochet hooks are like a 3-time markup at Ben Franklin. Anyway, I could go on forever about that. So I don't order or buy anything from them. I kind of go to Walmart or online. Walmart's very limited. Oh my gosh, they're so limited. They used to have a big section and they've just, I don't know why. I've been hearing they've been doing it everywhere. They really, ugh. So anyway, Monday was my Chester chicken. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. There's like so many things going on. I'm like, running around like a little mouse in a maze. So I got those 2 guys, got that guy, got this guy, and then I squeezed in one last guy. This is Sandy Woodland, I think, but I call him my spicy Takis chicken. He looks like a flaming chicken. He looks like a spicy chicken to me. I mean, just that red, I guess, in there. I just love them. They're just so cute. They look so silly. Anywho, that's how I did on, I call him Chester. I've named him Chester. Chester the chicken. Chester the chicken, I made 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I made 5 on that day. And then Tuesday was Frog Day, where I tried to revisit the leggy frog pattern. I've been just so challenged by the leggy frog. So this was my first attempt at the leggy frog, and I really loved how his legs kind of just curled inwards and they kind of just dangle, and I think it was beginner's luck because I love this guy so much. And when I tried to make him again, he turns out like this. Okay, now I know what you're thinking, what's wrong with that? But I didn't want the arms to curl up. I wanted them to just be flat, or at the very least curl down. And they're curling up everywhere. He's like, hey, what's up? And, you know, he's gonna go in my $5 bin. I love him so much. He's super cute, but I'm very frustrated by the leggy frog pattern. So I reached out to the designer because I bought this pattern from her. I reached out to the designer, I think Jade, gosh, I don't know. I'll have it in below. But I was like, can you help me please? What am I doing wrong? I feel so frustrated I could cry. His legs keep curling. And she responded back, gosh, I don't know. My guy's legs don't curl any which way or the other. And I'm like, oh boy. And she's like, maybe you need to hook up. If you're using Bernat blanket, try hooking up. Maybe you're doing it, you know, too tightly. And I was like, I just want him to look like this. And he ends up looking like this. And she was like, actually, you know what? This guy looks inside out. And this guy looks like my pattern. And I was like, what? Like, who does something inside out? But if you're aware of this pattern, it starts with the chain 7, I think. It starts with the chain 7, and then you have to make bobble eyes on that chain 7. So when you're making bobble eyes, you can poke them out either way. And I must have poked them out the wrong way and started crocheting around that way, which is why this guy's legs curl in and his eyes look different, and this guy's legs curl out. Because when you look at the back, she noticed this, which I'm like, she's pro. She's like, your stitches look different. This guy, it looks like the wrong side. If you can see that, this guy looks like regular stitches. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, so I tried hooking up, and this was the result. Oh my goodness, I did not like it. This to me is like, please go away. Please jump far, far away. This is not, this is not the look I was going for. I mean, I know tons of people are like, oh, he's so cute, but he can go in that $5 bin that way. I would much rather go for these looks, even though he's like, what's up? I still love these guys. So then I tried it with the thinner yarn because I figured, oh, maybe she used like a velvet yarn. I'm not really paying attention to the yarn she used. I thought it was Bernat. I know, you gotta read the pattern, I know. So anyway, I made it with like this Dollar Tree velvet yarn. Now, I don't have a Dollar Tree here, only the mainland does. I had my sister hook me up with these, so I was very grateful. So this is how the little guy turned out. Oh my god, he's so cute! He turned out so cute, and he's so small. And I used the same hook that the pattern calls for, which is a 5mm hook, with like this Dollar Tree velvet yarn. And there you go. His legs aren't doing anything weird or, you know, whatever. He's just regular. Hi. He's so cute. He's so sweet and soft, and just, I'm keeping him. I made him, and I'm not even going to sell him because he's so cute. But anyway, I got so frustrated with doing this that I just had to set him aside. I'm like, I need to set the frog aside for a bit because, you know, making this guy took like troubleshooting, you know, like about an hour, ripping him out, trying him again, ripping him out. Oh, that didn't work out. Oh, this happened. And, you know, it takes a while. You know, like I said, there's a learning curve with any pattern where you start to get your rhythm. You start to know how you want to complete it. And I would say that's my biggest drawback is trying too many new things all at once. You don't get a chance to smooth or streamline any of your patterns. You kind of just wing it. And that's what you get when you wing it, is you get winged things. But, you know, a lot of them turned out really great, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I need to slow down, and I'm having a hard time slowing down right now because it's a lot of fun and there is a sense of urgency. But getting back to my sellers, I did sell this one, and then I sold a lot of my baby octos. Everybody really loved them. And by the way, don't you love it when the variegated yarns do something cool in your project? Like, doesn't he look like a chocolate swirl the way that the variegated yarn lined up with this particular one? I almost want to just keep him for myself. But man, I can't keep all of these babies, my goodness. But anyway, I really liked how that turned out. So I make him in different colors. This color is Sonoma. But I'd say the most popular one was Sailor's Delight, which is another variegated yarn. I don't have an example of right on hand. Sailor's Delight and Variegated Water Slide was a second. Everybody wanted the Sailor's Delight though. Variegated Water Slide is like another variegated yarn of blues, and they really liked that one, which I thought was an obvious bestseller for the Octo. And then I had Ocean Shades, which is like a blend of purples and blues. I thought that one was gonna sell, not one sold. Okay, so that was interesting. And only one brown guy sold, one Sonoma. No wristlets, no scrunchies sold, though there was interest in them. People were touching them, people were feeling them. I also have a deal where you can buy 3, get 1 free. You can mix and match scrunchies and wristlets. You can buy 3, get 1 free. And there's also a way to set that up in Square, so you don't have to like worry about calculations, because my scrunchies are 8 and my wristlets are 9, and I don't know how you are in math, but let Square handle that. Let Square handle that. So I really love that. It's another reason why I love Square so much. They did that. Also, you can set up personal discounts in Square if you want. So for me, for instance, I do a friends and family discount, which I think is 15%. Friends and family is a 15% discount. And then I do a 10% discount if you follow me on Insta. So you can get 10% off if you follow me on Insta, just as a one-time introductory promotional deal. Like, oh yeah, I'll give you 10% off your first purchase if you follow me on Insta. So I do that, and I have that programmed in there so that anytime somebody comes in and they purchase this, this, and that from the store, I can add on that discount. And I just really love Square for that reason. I don't have to worry about that. Of course, you add in your state tax too, which was another thing I didn't want to deal with, with like a calculator, and no, just let Square handle that. So let's see. So yeah, going on, those are my best sellers, was the octopus and the chickens. And then I sold that last axolotl at the very end, just the one big purchase, over 20. I also give away my vinyl stickers for free with purchase of $50 and more. So that's a nice little perk. And then, let's see, getting back to my, I don't know, if you've been following me, you know that I had so many patterns that I was going to try and perfect one new pattern in 1 month. And even that didn't go well. Like, I was supposed to do so many different patterns, and I bought all the patterns and I was ready to work on them. That didn't go well. I ended up not doing a lot of them. Ended up choosing others over the others. Like, I don't know, it's just, you know, I always say life doesn't go as planned. It usually goes better. But let's keep on going. So Wednesday is Poppets Day. I'll let you know how this goes. So this was my first attempt at a poppet. I did it in velvet yarn. Why? I don't know. I really wanted to use up my Dollar Tree yarn and see what I could make. But I didn't have white. My friend didn't get me any white. So I tried to use the Bernat Velvet crushed white, and it just looks weird to me. I don't like the way it looks, but I guess it's kind of mushroomish if you think about it. But he does that. I kind of like how his cap is super low, but I was like, okay, this is not really working. It was really hard to make because it was really hard to see the stitches, and this pattern calls for front loop only all the way through, which is tricky if you can't see the stitches very well. So I decided to switch to the Bernat blanket thinking it might be easier. So my first attempt at the Bernat blanket is this guy. This guy, I don't like. He's going in my $5 bin. He doesn't cut it for me. So I followed the pattern exactly, and this is how he turned out. And it looked to me like she was using Bernat blanket, by the way. In her video where she does a tutorial on this, it looked to me like she did this. Also, anybody else have troubles with the eyes popping out? The little ones. So I've heard a few techniques. I know they say don't put it straight in the hole, weave it through other stitches. And I do that, and it's just difficult sometimes because they still poke out the front, or they do weird things like this where they kind of sink into the piece. And I've heard of people burning the backs of it. I don't like that idea. I know it works for a lot of people. I don't want to deal with I don't want to smell melted plastic. I don't want melted plastic to touch any of this. I don't want this to smell like melted plastic. There's just so much that I don't want about that. I think it's very toxic actually to do, and dangerous because it's highly flammable. Oh my God, your project's gonna burst into flames. But I know a lot of people do it, so to each his own. But does anybody have any tips on how to keep the small eyes in? So I've also heard you take a little felt piece in the back of the project and you put it in, and then you put the eyes in. I haven't tried that yet just because, great, I don't want to go and buy felt now for all my projects. So I'm trying to find an easier fix, which is usually looping the stem through another stitch and then poking it through. Sometimes I'll put the backs on backwards, you know how they curve like this? Sometimes I'll put them on like this. For different reasons. But anyway, this is how this guy turned up. I felt like his cap was too huge for his body. I wanted to make some adjustments. Like, it does this. He's going in my $5 bin. Okay, that's just that. So this is, let's see, 2.0. I changed the pattern a little bit. His cap came up smaller, so that's nice. I appreciate that. His cap came up a little bit smaller. Looks a bit cuter. Okay, here's the other thing. I'll just tell you this real quick. I hope this is for the die-hard crafters out there. So she does a color change that enables you to have a straight line, and she teaches you how to do this, you know, so it's not jaggedy like most color changes. And so I've been doing that. But then I noticed this, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. So I had to incorporate my jogless stripe that I learned from making my bees. And so now I have this clean color change. It's a technique where you do half of the stitch in this color, so you yarn over with this color when you're doing the color change. You yarn over with this color, pull it through, you have 2 loops on the hook, then you pull this one through, the 2 loops on the hook. So you're working with 2 strands for 1 row all the way around. So your bottom half of the crochet is this, and your upper half of the crochet is this. It sounds more technical than it actually is. It's so easy. I didn't want to do it because I was like, that's too complicated, but it's actually not really complicated at all. So anyway, I practiced the jogless stripe, and look, it's an improvement. So that looks way better. I mean, this is, I feel like, as good as you're gonna get for crocheting in circles is this technique for jogless stripe. I can't describe it here. It's easy, but technical. So that was 2. So one crazy one, 2, and then the last one was 3, but he is not my final one. I think I'd like to make him shorter. And his cap, I reached the limit. He's a little bit the cap is too small now. But it's okay, it still kind of works. He's going in my $5 bin. So I might practice him a couple more times today, but that's it. And I skipped over a day, didn't I? I went to the frogs and then I just left them. Because I forgot to show you, I call him Chad. Chad the cheeky toad. Chad the cheeky toad. He's a little cheeky guy. Boop. You can't really tell on screen, it doesn't really show, but they've got some junk in the trunk and I love them. They're just so cute. I think the pattern's name, the designer named them Ted the Thick Toad. And again, I'll link him down below. But he turned out great. The first try, he turned out great. I only made 3 because I was just practicing, you know. They're little tushes there. Only made 3. I'm gonna sell these guys for 10 bucks each. See how they do. But that was my froggy day. I got 3 of these guys, 1 of this guy, 1 of this lumpy guy over here, and this tiny little guy. And also I feel like you can tell the quality difference between these two. This one to me just looks a lot cheaper. It has this certain sheen on it that I don't know, it seems like it's definitely a cheaper thing. Like, how do we know that? How do we know when stuff is cheap? But I mean, I can tell that this one is definitely a cheaper yarn and this one is a more quality yarn. So yeah, interesting on that. So let's see, we did Chester's Chicken, Frog Day, Poppets. Now we're on to sharks. I haven't made any sharks yet. I only downloaded the pattern and I'm about to work on it right after this video. But just wanted to share with you everything that I did. You know, I have my checklist, my inventory list of everything that I have. All of my amigurumis, all of my beanies. I actually did sell 1 newborn beanie and I had a potential sale for an adult beanie, but I don't have any adult beanies. My gosh, the beanies take me a long time and they are last on my list to do. So it takes me a while to pop out beanies. But I have that, my beanies, and then, by the way, this is all the different colors that the beanie I offer in the beanies. And then I have the rest of my list there, and then on my last page I have my trial list. So I counted an inventory on the sheet, but I don't input it into Square since I am not sure I'm going to do those. But that's about it for today's video. Check me out on Instagram, Cinnamony's Kawaii Creations. I'll leave that in the link below too. And then let me know your thoughts if you're market prepping, if you found this video helpful. I never know if these videos are actually helping anybody. So if you can let me know, thumbs upping, liking, subscribing, all that stuff, that would be great. I really don't like to ask that stuff because you guys know what to do already. If you like somebody, you're gonna subscribe to them. So you'll never really hear me say that every single video because I get tired of being asked by every video I watch. I'm so tired of that phrase. Like, stop asking me to like and subscribe and click the bell notification for new videos. I'm like, people know how to do this already. I understand you need to be reminded, but I'll let inspiration remind you. So I'll be doing another live. I'll attempt another live. I have to apologize because I did a shorts for the YouTube and there was no audio. It was fine for Instagram. I didn't need to do anything special, but YouTube had me jumping through all these loops and I had to download all these things, and downloading the YouTube app is not enough. You need to download YouTube Studio and download YouTube Studio, and it was like just giving me troubles. It was difficult. I think I deleted them both after that video came out the way that it did. I was like, this is junk. I don't want to work with this anymore. But I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it again this Saturday. I'll try to do another live for you, just show you what I have set up this time. Again, bring you along for the ride. And that's about it. But yeah, like I said, I am not a video editor person, so what you see is what you get with me. But thanks for checking it out. Thank you for checking it out today. And yeah, check me out on Instagram. It's the best way to get all of my updates on what I'm crocheting. Here's pretty good too, but this is more vlogging. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. I tried this pattern out. It's of a gummy worm. Isn't he cute? Oh my goodness. He's so cute. And this was a little free one I found, and I just made it with the velvet yarn, the the Dollar Tree velvet yarn. It took like a little few minutes. I'm not gonna sell these yet. It's filled with a pipe cleaner, by the way. But it's a super quick make and super sweet and super cute. I'm not gonna incorporate him yet. I just wanted to make him for myself. But that is what I have for you guys. Thank you for checking in with me today and watching this video. I hope it gave you some inspiration. Let me know if it did. And then I will see you again next time, guys. Peace.